Bette Davis captivated audiences for over 50 years with her 10 Oscar nominations and 2 wins. Barbara Davis Heyman isn't bashful about revealing that she has a very different view of her renowned and adored mother. What dark secrets does Heyman reveal about her mom? Would you be interested in hearing them? Only by seeing it through to the conclusion will you find out. The role of Bette Davis is most commonly associated with Ruth Elizabeth Davis, who was born in Lowell, Massachusetts. The year 1908 was her birth month. Her parents were the lawyers Harlow Morrell Davis and Ruth Augusta. Their marriage, however, was short-lived. Her parents divorced when she was barely 10 years old. Because of this, Bette and her younger sister were raised by their mother on her own. Bette was just like every other girl when she was a girl. Still, she was a magnet for curious spectators. Around this time, she decided to change her first name to Bette, drawing inspiration from a character in the controversial French novel La Zine, Bette, which follows a middle-aged lady who is alone and plans her family's demise. As Bette played strong dramatic roles in a series of films, the cliché femme fatale from whom she borrowed her name would eventually come to symbolize herself. Even though Bette was stunningly beautiful, the merciless beauty standards of Hollywood were quick to judge her harshly since she didn't conform to their norms. Meeting with the chairman of a Hollywood company, she once made an undetected arrival at the airport. Because she didn't look like the typical Hollywood actor, the executive passed her by. He completely disregarded Bette, who was just in front of him, and continued on his walk. The beauty standards set by Hollywood and Bette Davis's personal troubles were 2 of the many challenges she faced during her life. Marriage was a blessing for good girls, but also a difficult one, as Bette learned from her mother, who was a constant and moral role model, despite her emotionally distant father. Bette claims that her parents were very sorry for each other when they ultimately divorced, therefore it was a relief for her. When she was 13 years old, her mother had to move the family to New York City so that she could use the money from her children's tuition to attend the Clarence White School of Photography. It was easy to see Bette's polarizing personality at work in her early days. She went from being a sweet and polite lady to someone quite different in the span of a single day. Many were enchanted by this mannerism. The Manhattan Civic Repertory Theatrical, a prestigious New York theatrical company, rejected her not for her talent, but for what they saw as her superficiality and lack of seriousness. But they had no idea of the young woman's tremendous talent. Their biases and narrow views caused them to unconsciously ignore one of the greatest actresses of all time. While Bette Davis did get engaged with the Girl Scouts after moving to New York, her acting career soon took center stage. At the age of 18, she was captivated by a 1925 staging of The Wild Duck, starring Peg Entwistle. Davis reflected on her decision to pursue a career in theater, saying that it was motivated by her observation of the potential in 17-year-old Entwistle. She failed miserably at her audition for George Cukor's stock theater company in Rochester, New York. Regardless, he recognized her abilities and cast her in her first paid acting job, a minor chorus girl part in the production. Blanche Yerka's casting of Davis as Hedwig, the figure who had enchanted Peg Entwistle 3 years before to her seeing of The Wild Duck, rekindled Davis's love of the theater. This gave her the opportunity to perform in prominent cities including Philadelphia, Washington, and Boston. Around this period, Davis debuted on Broadway with Broken Dishes and Solid South when she was 21 years old. Despite a tumultuous start to her career in Hollywood, Davis inked a deal with Universal Studios in 1931 when she was just 23 years old. Once again, everything was a bust. Davis became famous for helping actors with their audition readings after her own screen test failed. In her first feature film, Bad Sister, she co-starred with Sidney Fox and had her first film with Humphrey Bogart. A cinematographer spotted her stunning eyes around this time and cast her. This film's dismal box office performance was a major letdown. Since it was a total failure, Universal Studios let Davis go and she went back to looking for work. Well, at least it got Davis an acting gig in Hollywood. However, Davis continued. Her relentless pursuit of a contract with Warner Brothers began with an appearance in The Man Who Played God. Warner Brothers had no idea what to do with Davis once their contract expired. On the set of the 1934 drama of Human Bondage, adapted from W. Somerset Maugham's first work, which was her first critical success. In the film, she played the role of Mildred, a cold-hearted waitress. For her role in the picture, Davis received her first Academy Award nomination. After earning this role, she went on to play other strong-willed, often unlikable heroines who rebelled against societal norms. Despite her achievements, Davis persisted in battling typecasting and the limited roles that women have historically played. She laid the foundation for her future success by relentlessly pursuing challenging parts. In 1936, Davis notably challenged Warner Brothers' extremely stringent contract terms in court. Even though she lost, the case marked a turning point in the fight for performers' agency in the industry and had far-reaching effects. It would appear that luck was finally on Davis's side after that protracted legal battle, as her portrayal of a disturbed young actress in Dangerous garnered her maiden Academy Award. Actors Humphrey Bogart and Leslie Howard co-starred with her in the subsequent film The Petrified Forest. Her performance in Jezebel earned her a Best Actress Oscar later that year, in 1938. As one of Hollywood's leading ladies, she had finally solidified her position. In addition to her work problems, Bette Davis's personal life was impacted by a number of scandals. It was clear to young Bette that she wanted a connection apart from her husband's after growing up in an unhappy marriage and with strict parental regulations. Despite her best intentions, Davis ended up getting married 4 times and raising her children all by herself. They had been dating since Davis was a teenager, and in 1932, at the age of 24, Davis wed pianist Harmon Oscar Nelson Jr., more often known as Ham. They never had a child together after their 1938 divorce. Like many other young ladies of her time, Davis waited to get married before committing to a partner. When it came to Bette, though, Nelson was mean and cruel. Both times Davis became pregnant while they were married, Nelson was adamant that she get an abortion. Not only was it socially unacceptable, but it was also extremely terrifying and risky for anyone to go through, particularly in the 1930s when medical technology was inadequate. As their relationship became unbearable, she sought a way out of the marriage. After discovering that Davis had an affair throughout their marriage, Nelson made the decision to file for a divorce. While filming the suspenseful film Dangerous with her husband Nelson, Davis had an affair with co-star Franchot Tone. Tone, however, became engaged to Joan Crawford, another Hollywood legend. The two would thereafter engage in one of the most notoriously bitter rivalries in Hollywood annals. 3 more times, Davis was married. The businessman Arthur Farnsworth, who was her second husband, died unexpectedly in 1943. 2 years following the dissolution of their first marriage, Davis remarried artist William Grant Sherry. With the birth of their daughter Barbara, they ended their marriage in 1950. Not long after, her co-star in All About Eve, actor Gary Merrill, became her 4th and final marriage. Unfortunately, the couple's marriage also ended in divorce, and so did the adoption of their children, Margot and Michael. Marriage did not bring Davis her happily ever after, but motherhood and her career did. In spite of all the chaos in her personal life, she kept her work and her relationship with it going strong. In 1934, Davis received her first Academy Award nomination for Of Human Bondage. The following year, she won for Dangerous. A turning point in her acting career came when she played Julie Marsden in Jezebel, for which she received her second Oscar. Barbara Davis Heyman is an accomplished actress who happens to be the daughter of the famous Bette Davis. Barbara Davis, whose mother is a Hollywood star, has had to endure the intense scrutiny of the public eye since she was a little girl, which is something that no child should have to deal with. She attributes the difficulties she had on her journey of self-discovery and identity formation to those encounters. Davis left a legacy that shocked the world after he passed away in 1989 at the age of 80. I declare that I have intentionally and with full knowledge omitted to provide herein for my daughter, her will states, prompting Heyman to disinherit her daughter Barbara. This event spurred Heyman to give multiple interviews and write a book about her relationship with her mother. I find particularly disturbing her assertion that her mother was an occultist or witch, among her several ludicrous assertions. Adding, "When I would not do what she wanted me to do, she vowed to get even with me." Heyman goes to great lengths to claim that she witnessed her mother's demonic transformation, complete with a demonic face and extended claws. She also recounts hearing Davis gut fish and mutter the names of others she wished ill on. It is clear that Barbara's relationship with Davis was poor and has been bad throughout her life because Davis did not appear to be the traditional mother or grandmother who would cherish her children and strive to be a good role model. The poisonous nature of their connection is demonstrated by the fact that her biological daughter would openly condemn her. I should note that the press and Davis's followers were hostile against Barbara Heyman when she made these claims. On the other hand, the horrific details divulged by Barbara in her A Long Day's Journey into Light videos on YouTube were completely unexpected. Amazingly, nobody ever thought Davis was up to no good with occult or witchcraft. The details that Heyman relentlessly reveals about her mother, meanwhile, are not flattering. The films in question were reportedly shot in the late 90s, but it wasn't until 2015 that anyone noticed them. But now, as one would expect, they're making a triumphant return and drawing new attention. A 75-year-old Christian who experienced rebirth, Barbara Davis Heyman is also an author and pastor. Davis allegedly experimented with witchcraft and would cast charms from her bed, according to Heyman. These testimony were given over 26 years after Heyman's mother died of breast cancer, suggesting that she is still harboring resentment from her toxic relationship with Davis. Davis, known for her dramatic performances, won over audiences by giving her characters nuanced emotions. However, this degree of intensity was also present off-screen, as stated by Heyman. Heyman claims that her mother Davis was controlling and emotionally abusive, and that she also claimed that her mother manipulated her to get what she wanted. Heyman wrote in her memoir, My Mother's Keeper, "My mother was not just a perfectionist, she was a tyrant. Her demands were relentless, and her temper was terrifying." This portrayal is very different from the public's view of her as an accomplished actress who overcame many obstacles in a male-dominated industry. Heyman claims that Davis exhibited erratic behavior and took narcotics. Her mother, she says, would drink heavily to cope with the pressures of work and home life. Heyman asserts that Davis's irrational and violent behavior was a result of his drunkenness. With an attitude of superiority, Davis would return the next morning and say, "I hope that taught you a good lesson." After acting out drug overdoses to scare Heyman, Davis would leave. Opinions on these statements vary among many. Several Davis associates and fans defended him, claiming that Heyman had exaggerated or distorted Davis's great career and famous Hollywood status. People were more inclined to believe Heyman's accounts because they suggested that the intense demands and pressures of Hollywood could lead to such behavior. Even if Davis's films and memoirs change people's perceptions of him, his pioneering work in the field will go on. Even though these darker aspects of her personal life have come to light, her undeniable talent and contributions to film continue to get widespread acclaim. Bette Davis's daughter, who is herself famous, went into further information regarding her mother's feud with Joan Crawford. Because these two women were so influential during Hollywood's golden era, the news spread the word. But Barbara is telling us what's really going on behind the scenes. Barbara asserts that Universal Studios selected her to be the next Golden Girl in 1933, after her mother, Bette Davis, had triumphed against all odds to become a Hollywood celebrity. When her newspaper article finally made it to the front page, Davis was ecstatic. However, fate has other plans. Industry insiders said Joan Crawford was an extremely cunning and scary adversary. She picked the day her studio boss was going to disclose Davis to the press, exactly when Davis needed a boost, to announce her thing, though she could have done it on any other day of the week. Crawford made a shocking confession about her upcoming divorce from Douglas Fairbanks Jr. the day before Universal Studios was going to announce Davis as Hollywood's next big star. About a moment, put yourself in Bette Davis's shoes. She's so excited about her big news that she gets up at the crack of dawn to get the morning paper. She's sure her name will be splashed across the front page. While Crawford's divorce is front and center in the press, her personal news is buried and cannot be located without a careful search. By relegating Davis's important news to a small paragraph in the reviews section, Crawford skillfully utilized her personal struggles to command attention. The treachery planted the seed of a long, simmering resentment for Davis. Crawford's behavior momentarily dampened Davis's sense of victory, causing her distress and discontent. Their long-simmering resentment started with this episode and persisted through numerous cases of workplace sabotage and jealousy. While filming the classic feature Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, at its height, their animosity was palpable. Their argument outside of film ratcheted up the tension on set, which in turn produced iconic performances that stunned audiences everywhere. Bette Davis's daughter claims that the anger towards Joan Crawford stemmed from a love triangle. There was an on-set drama for the film Dangerous involving Davis, Crawford, and their flamboyant co-star Franchot Tone. Franchot Tone's attractiveness and magnetic personality attracted Davis. Still, Crawford had already captured Tone's heart. Tone was already in a relationship with Crawford, but Davis pursued her persistently anyway, hoping their on-stage connection would become a real-life romance. Despite Tone's marriage, Davis bravely tried to win her heart. Crawford, in contrast, wasted no time securing Tone under her control. She was naturally assertive and never shied away from conflict. Crawford definitely intended to cause Davis actual agony when she forced Tone into a hasty engagement while the cameras were running. The engagement news of Tone and Crawford clearly had a profound effect on Davis. As bad as it was to watch her mortal enemy get engaged to the man she had feelings for on the same set as her romantic fantasies, she had to endure watching them really tie the knot. Both Davis's professional and personal lives took a major hit from this sad defeat. From the depths of her anguish, Davis vowed she would never pardon Crawford. Their intense rivalry peaked at the 1936 Academy Awards. Davis, who was doubtful about her prospects of receiving a Best Actress nomination, chose an unflattering dress to represent her decision not to attend. But fate had different intentions, as Davis ended up taking home the Best Actress trophy. There was no way out of it but to accept it, even if she was dressed to contest the situation. According to Davis, Crawford made a derogatory remark when accepting her award, asserting that Tone preferred her above her because he saw her only as a talented actress and not as a lady. This comment had a profound effect on Davis and reignited their fierce rivalry. Unaffected by the chaos, Bette Davis toiled away behind the scenes. In 1937, her acting career really took off in the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, establishing her as a serious contender in the cutthroat profession. Controversies and troubles followed her everywhere, even as her career soared. It wasn't fun that spat with Crawford was so contentious and went on for so long. Davis and Crawford were both major players in Hollywood history, spite of their notorious rivalry. Joan Crawford had a more dominant presence on screen, while Bette Davis had a more dynamic acting range. Both women made significant contributions to the golden age of cinema. Both have been featured in iconic films and stage productions that continue to captivate audiences. Television shows like Feud, Bette and Joan, which honors Bette Davis and Joan Crawford while delving into the intricacies of their relationship, are examples of how their rivalry has been preserved in popular culture. Bette Davis, a formidable woman, fought bravely for her place in the industry. She went through a lot to get her start, and now I understand why she was so committed to her job. True, but she still managed to show kindness and compassion despite the many controversies she was involved in. A complex and multifaceted personality characterizes Bette Davis. Juggling the responsibilities of a famous actress and a mother was no easy feat, yet she succeeded against Hollywood's expectations. Throughout her career, Davis had numerous challenges, such as contending with studio bosses and maintaining her peak performance. She routinely pushed herself and others to their physical and mental limitations, because of her unparalleled dedication to her craft. Nevertheless, we should not disregard Barbara's feelings. It is essential to consider Hayman's perspective too. Undoubtedly, her perspective on life mirrors that of her renowned Hollywood father. Hayman has maintained, without fail throughout the years, that her memoir faithfully depicted her life beside Davis. She often shared her story of overcoming hardship and finding inner peace in her future ministry work. Maybe these realizations are helping her along the road to recovery. What in the world? The effect that Bette Davis had on the Hollywood industry is undeniable. She has been an actress for over 50 years and has played countless memorable roles. But despite this, she is still generally regarded as one of the all-time greats. By daring to play less appealing and more demanding parts, Davis challenged Hollywood's conventional thinking about an actress's ideal personality. Her acting was so exceptional that she received 10 Oscar nominations and went on to win 2. While Hayman's discoveries shocked many, they also revealed a more relatable side of an excellent character. In addition to the baseless claims of Satanism, witchcraft, and the occult, it is a sobering reminder that there are real individuals battling genuine issues behind all the fame and fortune. Davis deserves respect for his professional accomplishments despite the turmoil around him. Along with becoming the first female head of the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, she played a key role in founding the Hollywood Canteen, a club that provided entertainment for World War II servicemen. The story is made even better by her daughter's observations, which demonstrate that our heroes are human and have weaknesses and struggles. These stories don't lessen her impact on film. On the contrary, they paint a more nuanced picture of her life and work. The life and films of Bette Davis, who had an indelible impact on Hollywood, continue to inspire and enthrall viewers. She broke barriers in the entertainment industry and redefined femininity via her work, paving the way for subsequent generations of actresses. Thoughtful consideration of the mysteries revealed by her daughter allows us to get to know the renowned woman better and appreciate the multifaceted nature of her legacy. Disputes within Bette Davis's family were particularly heated in the years after her daughter Hayman's controversial memoir, My Mother's Keeper, came out in 1985. The author, Davis, published a memoir titled This and That, in which she vehemently denied Hayman's claims. This highly publicized family feud peaked with Hayman's follow-up remarks, and the drama persisted until Davis's death in the 1980s. After undergoing a mastectomy to treat her breast cancer, Davis suffered 4 strokes, leaving her immobile. Her well-being was of paramount importance. She maintained her resoluteness and composure despite her terrible illness. So that her son wouldn't have to witness her in such a vulnerable state, she officially denied his visit. Despite suffering a sickness relapse in 1989, she courageously faced her final days at the San Sebastian International Film Festival in Neuchâtel, France, before succumbing to her illness on October 6. Even after Davis left, the familial problems remained. Her will generated further discussions because she split her estate to her adoptive son Michael, her aide Catherine, and her daughter Hayman, excluding Hayman from the distribution. Maybe Hayman's feelings of exclusion stem from the fact that she harbors lingering resentment toward her mother, which could be a sign of more serious issues within the family. Davis had an enormous effect on filmmaking, independent of the difficulties she endured in her personal life. She paved the way for strong female characters in Hollywood and demonstrated the value of persistence. She made over 100 film appearances and broke glass ceilings in 1977 when she became the first woman to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute. In addition to her professional achievements and tenacious determination, the drama surrounding her final years enriches her complex and deeply human legacy. Despite facing tremendous personal struggles, her pioneering influence and perseverance were evident, leaving an indelible mark on the film industry. The revelations made by Bette Davis's daughter transcend controversy and gossip, serving as a somber reminder of the complexities of human nature and the enduring influence of a Hollywood icon. Hollywood was rocked to its foundations when the actress finally came clean about years of lies and hidden truths. As we reflect on Bette Davis's impact and the ripple effects of her daughter's discoveries, we are reminded of the complexities of fame, the fragility of individuality, and the enduring power of family. Bette Davis was a trailblazer in her field, but she was also a human being, just like the flawless characters she portrayed. The personal glimpses into her life that her daughter has provided us demonstrate that our idols are also extremely human, and they give us a more nuanced understanding of her intriguing legacy. None of the controversy surrounding these stories takes away from her tremendous contributions to film. On the contrary, they help us understand the actual person behind the public image.